Welcome to Seeing Green Solutions for Our Daily Lives, the podcast where we spotlight the brands, ideas, and people making it easier to live sustainably every day. Today's episode is part of our Spotlight series, a deep dive into one of our Seeing Green Solutionists of the day. And now, today's solution.
Welcome back to Seeing Green. Today's episode is part of the Seeing Green Spotlight series.
Right, where we take a closer look at our solutionist of the day.
Exactly. Brands that are bringing, real solutions to help us all be a little healthier and a little greener in our daily lives.
It's a great mission, and it really forces us to look past the marketing claims and get into the real mechanics of change.
Absolutely. And before we jump in, you know the drill. If you enjoy learning about this kind of thing, please subscribe to the podcast. And maybe consider joining the Seeing Green community over at seeinggreen.eco.
And of course, you can follow us for all the latest tips and solutions at Seeing Green Eco across social media.
So we're recording this on a Monday. How was the weekend? Get up to anything good?
It was actually pretty productive. I checked out the Seeing Green vibe check for sustainable bedding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it gave me a couple of great brands that I'm definitely going to check out. What about you?
I gave that smoked old-fashioned recipe of the day a try.
The one from the sustainable distillery in Ireland.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprisingly complex. A really great weekend treat.
Nice. Well, speaking of complexity, today we are returning to a topic that is always popular.
Sustainable apparel.
Sustainable apparel.
It's such an important one. We've covered a really wide range of innovators in the past. Brands like Benny, Make the Label, ThredUp, Nothing New, Thousand Fell, Houdini Sportswear, Christy Dawn.
Oh, a lot of them.
Yeah, so if you enjoy this topic, we really encourage you to check out those past deep dives. We've also got spotlights on more than 20 leaders in apparel on our website, plus those interactive vibe checks for both menswear and womenswear.
But today, we're focusing on a brand that has built its entire reputation on comfort and is now really leveraging that reputation to tackle some of the apparel sector's most persistent challenges.
Marine Layer.
Marine Layer. Their goal isn't just to, sell you new clothes. It's to rethink the entire process of how they're made.
Right. So it's about elevating your wardrobe, but also fundamentally changing how clothing is sourced and, I guess, disposed of.
The whole life cycle. And the founding story is actually pretty relatable. It goes back to 2009.
Mm-hmm.
The founder's girlfriend unceremoniously tossed his favorite perfectly soft T-shirt, and he was just distraught.
I can imagine. That feeling of a perfectly broken-in shirt is irreplaceable.
Exactly. And that tragedy, so to speak, inspired this whole quest to recreate that feeling, that softness, right from day one.
And that single idea, that desire for perfect comfort, drove their whole evolution. They went from just one shirt experiment in San Francisco to a full lifestyle brand for men and women.
It's been 16 years, and now they've got, over 100 custom-developed fabrics and more than 45 stores nationwide. That's a pretty significant footprint, built entirely on that idea of softness.
And that comfort really defines their whole aesthetic. It's that, vintage-inspired California casual vibe, relaxed fits, super soft textures, washed colors.
Everything looks and feels like it's been your favorite for years, right out of the box.
The style is simple. But I think the key insight here is the emphasis on durability. When you design something to be an instant staple, not just a trend, you're already pushing back against that fast fashion cycle.
That's a great point. They focus on those easy weekend staples. For men, it's their signature tees, knits, shackets, and joggers. For women, it's just as comfortable, drapey tops, easy dresses, jumpsuits, wide-leg pants.
So that brings us to the core issue. Why does this kind of focused effort from a brand like Marine Layer matter so much right now?
Because the fashion industry is just massive. And historically, it's been one of the most resource-intensive sectors on the entire planet. The environmental footprint is just staggering.
When we say footprint, we're talking about taking resources at every single step of the process.
Right. Think about conventional cotton farming. It's so water-thirsty, so pesticide-heavy. Then you have synthetic fibers, which come directly from fossil fuels. And then just the colossal amount of textile waste from short-lived trends.
And we can't forget the social impact, the human cost.
Absolutely not. This industry has a vast global supply chain where the farmers and the artisans, the people at the very beginning, are so often undervalued and just totally disconnected from the final product they helped create.
And that recognition of both the environmental and the human cost is really what defines Marine Layer's responsibility mindset.
Yeah, for them, sustainability isn't some marketing add-on. It's integrated across everything they do. Design, materials, sourcing, packaging, even their community investments.
And those investments aren't small gestures. They've donated, what, $215,000 to partner organizations?
Yeah, groups focused on conservation like Keep Tahoe Blue and the Sierra Club.
Their whole philosophy is kind of powerful in its simplicity.
Yeah.
Just make better choices consistently over time.
And that creates real measurable impact. That sort of incremental approach, that's what defines their whole material strategy.
Okay, so let's get into those materials. Right now, 39% of their products have at least 30% sustainable fibers, which is a solid start.
It is, but what's really compelling is their target. They're aiming to aggressively increase that to 75% by 2030.
Wow. That is a massive operational commitment, especially for a brand their size.
It's a huge lift.
Yeah.
It requires this massive investment in R&D and, securing reliable, ethical supply chains for these new fibers. They're leaning heavily on low-impact materials.
Things like recycled polyester and nylon. Right?
Exactly, and upcycled cotton, which captures post-industrial scraps. Organic cotton, of course, but also really innovative fibers like Tencel, both lyocell and modal, which are made from responsibly harvested wood pulp in a closed-loop system, and also linen and hemp.
We hear the term Tencel a lot, but for you listening, the key takeaway is that Tencel processes, especially lyocell, use significantly less chemicals and water compared to traditional processes. It's a fundamental step change.
It really is, and their commitment to circularity is built right into their products. If you see a fabric of theirs labeled respun, then the item has 30% or more recycled content.
And some of that fiber comes directly from their own take-back program.
That's right. Their strategy is crystal clear. Rely less on new virgin resources and just extend the life cycle of the fiber that's already out there.
And that focus on accountability goes way beyond just the materials. It extends into their entire global supply chain.
This is non-negotiable for a responsible brand today. They require 100% of their manufacturing partners to undergo reputable third-party audits. Right, and naming those is important because these are the firms that verify ethical labor practices, health, and safety standards. It means Marine Layer is paying someone else to verify that conditions are fair and safe all over the world.
And that transparency is solidified because all suppliers have to sign Marine Layer's Code of Ethics, and the brand publicly lists its manufacturing partners in its annual impact reports.
Which gives you, the customer, essential visibility.
Beyond the fabric and the factories, they're also improving in the small but important details, like their packaging.
These are those practical steps that steadily reduce waste. For example, they've replaced all those single-use plastic mailers, which are standard in e-commerce, with recyclable Vela bags for online orders.
And all their catalogs and hang tags use FSC-certified paper,
which guarantees responsible forest stewardship.
Okay, so this brings us to what is really the centerpiece of their circular strategy. And frankly, it's one of the most successful textile recovery programs we've seen, the Respun program.
This started back in 2018 as just a small tea take-back program, but it has evolved into a full-scale textile recovery system. They partner with a company called 4 Days.
This is where Marine Layer stops being just a clothing retailer and starts acting like a waste management company.
It really is, and the way they incentivize the consumer is brilliant. It addresses the biggest pain point of textile recycling: convenience and motivation.
Totally. So you buy a $20 Respun take-back bag. It accepts up to 15 pounds of any textile, not just their stuff.
Right. Any brand, any condition, mismatched socks, old towels, torn shirts, anything.
And this is the critical part. When you send that bag in, you get a $40 Marine Layer reward.
So it doesn't just offset the cost. It gives you a net $20 incentive. They are literally paying you to participate in circularity.
Which makes it so much more actionable for the consumer. Once they collect all that material, what happens is pretty complex. The items are sorted, and the goal is always to get them into the highest value stream possible.
So that could be resale or true fiber-to-fiber recycling, which means turning old thread back into new thread, or if the quality is just too poor, downcycling it into stuff like insulation.
That ability to do true fiber-to-fiber recycling is kind of the holy grail of textile circularity.
It is, because it preserves the original value of the material. And by building this robust system, they're projected to devote more than 650,000 pounds of textiles from landfills by the end of 2025.
That is an immense tangible impact, and it really speaks volumes about their commitment to accountability, which is also formalized in their legal status. They became a public benefit corporation in 2021.
And then they solidified that by earning B Corp certification in 2022 with a score of 82.5.
Let's put that score in context. Earning B Corp certification in the apparel world, with its complex supply chains and resource intensity, is notoriously difficult. A score of 82.5, well above the minimum of 80, is a serious achievement.
It truly is. It places them in an elite category. I mean, fewer than 0.5% of U.S. apparel brands have this distinction. As a B Corp, they are legally committed to considering workers, communities, and the environment in every single decision they make.
And this isn't just a plaque on the wall. Their annual impact reports show that they're constantly measuring and improving, which provides the transparency you need to actually trust their claims.
Yeah, they're really proving that you don't have to sacrifice comfort or style to build a profoundly responsible business model.
They've managed to turn that desire for the perfectly broken-in tee into a functional system that keeps materials in use and out of the landfill. That's a powerful lesson for the whole industry.
To learn more about Marine Layer, you can visit them at marinelayer.com.
And if you're interested in learning more about creating a greener, more sustainable daily life, check out the other episodes of the Seeing Green podcast, both the Spotlight series and our Greening My series. And please subscribe while you're at it.
You can also join the Seeing Green community by signing up on the Seeing Green website. You can see more trailblazers making big strides in promoting eco-friendly living through all kinds of innovative solutions. That's online at www.seeinggreen.eco.
And remember to follow us at Seeing Green Eco across all the social media channels for the latest tips and solutions. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, LinkedIn, and now Pinterest too. You name it, we're there.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Seeing Green Spotlight series.
Our closing thought for you. If the cost of convenience is waste, what small incentives could you introduce into your own routine to make responsibility the more convenient and maybe the more rewarding choice? Until next time, keep seeing green.